is a short video, but it's one that needs to be made, everybody, okay? The best shows and movies that I have watched this year. Obviously not all of them came out this year, but they're ones that I didn't watch prior to this year that I think are amazing. So we'll start with shows. We'll get right into it because I watched a lot and it was hard to pin it down to the ones that I thought were incredible. But these are ones that I basically would score like 5 stars. But shows, I have Breaking Bad. I haven't finished this yet, unlike everything else here, but the way it's filmed is incredible. The acting, the writing is incredible. The story is really captivating. It's really, really good. What I keep saying when I watch it is like it stayed modern, even though it was literally, I think, released like just after my sister was born and she's 16. So the next thing is Satellites Flats. Now this is a show that not many people will know about because it's a British show first of all, but also it's a comedy about North London Greek Brits. So it's really specific, and that's quite literally what I am. So a very smallish audience will relate to it. So I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea, but since I am exactly what it's about, it's extremely, like, I resonate with it on a level, and I find the humor hilarious and accurate as fuck. Next, I think this is honestly my top show this year for so many reasons, but it came out I think like 2017, I don't know, but The Leftovers. This show, me and my family binged together, and it took us like a month to finish all seasons, but holy shit. It's basically about like the end of the world slash the becoming of Christ, but like in a non-religious way, in like a modern sci-fi clones and alternate universes, but all of it is like realistic. Like it's all on this planet, none of it is like out of this world. It's literally just there's no way to put it into words, but it's fucking insane. It's so good, and I honestly miss it so much. Like me and my family have said we miss it so much because it's so good. The acting is insane, the writing's insane. It's one of those shows that really fucks with your head, and so not in a bad way, but in a way of like, what the fuck's going on, and like you just constantly, you leave with questions and more questions and questions. I finally watched Big Little Lies, which I loved. It was really good. I thought it would be overrated, but it wasn't. It was really good. Acting, writing, how it's filmed, really enjoyed it. I really hope there's another season because I would watch it. Around January, I finally watched The Office, one of my favourite shows. It's one of my comfort shows. I love it so much. I think the writing is just insane. The acting is on point. It's just one of the best shows ever. I literally watch it still to this day, and it makes me feel like I can flex even more that I've met Steve Carell. So earlier this year I binged Good Girls, and then the 6th season came out, so I watched that when it came out. Or was it the 5th season? I can't remember. But Good Girls, it's not like my top 5, but it's still really good and definitely worth watching. It's just a captivating like plot, and the acting's good. If you want to watch something that isn't too mindfucking like The Leftovers, but it's still decent to watch Good Girls. Also, I think earlier this year, around like maybe June or something, I watched Master of None. Again, it wouldn't be top 5, but it was really good. I liked the writing a lot, and the acting and the plot, and the last season that was released, it was just like so different to what the whole show was, because the whole show was like a, you know, just a comedy, like a romantic comedy kind of show, and then the last series, which was really like only a few episodes, was like all shot on film. It was just like a deep dive into like each character, and like oh my god, it was like so poetic. It was so beautiful. I just really liked how different it was. Like the whole thing was just so good. Before that though, I watched Feel Good, which I did enjoy. Again, it was one of the shows that I thought would be overrated, but it wasn't. It was really good. It great acting, not great, I'd say good acting, good plot, decently, you know, shot. It was just fun. It was a fun watch. It was a good, decent watch and good writing, so I liked it for that reason. This is all in the same month. Like, I binged so much in June, I think. But on Becoming a God, is it Kristen Dunst? I can't remember how you say her name, but the one that plays MJ in the original SpiderMan, she's in Virgin Suicides. Massive actress, really, really good in everything she is in. This is where I first saw Theodore Pellerin, I think that's how you say his name, who I fucking love. This show was insane and so underrated. It's just drama-packed, action-packed, the way it's shot, beautiful, it's mind-fucking. It's a plot that you would probably think is quite cliche, but the way they dealt with it was really good. It's basically like this woman who like starts up a scam because her husband dies, and then tries to help other people scam other people, and at first she tries to shut it down, but then she gets involved. Anyway, so good. Her acting is insane in it, and just the whole show is just really, really good. And then Working Mums, it wasn't amazing, but it was just so decently entertaining. Like, there was enough drama to keep it alive, and I just enjoyed having it in the background. There isn't really another show that I've seen that is like it, because it's like it revolves around mums at work, and just like it puts a big highlight on certain subjects that need to be spoken about, but in a funny way and also in a dramatic way, so it's like a good mix. But this is what, with this next show, this last show, is what I really wanted to speak about. Made. If there is one show that came out this year that blew me away, it was Made, and I really didn't expect it to, but it did. Margaret Qualley is also in The Leftovers, and like from watching her in that, I was and like in other things, she's been in loads of things, but just I always thought like her acting was mediocre, but I think in this show she really did amazing. She was fucking amazing in this. Also so shocked by Nick, I think his name's Nick Robinson. In everything else he's been in, again, he's been quite mediocre, he's been okay, but in this he was amazing, very convincing. Margaret Qualley's mum in the show is her mum in real life. I can't remember her name, but she was extremely famous when she was younger. I used to watch the movie she was in, and she was very convincing in this as well. And just the story, again, is so good. Like, I think that other people would have made up stories like this and like short films or shows like this, but they haven't, and it touches on so many important things. And the thing is, it's like shows like this can get really dark really easily, and I can't watch super dark shows because like it will affect me mentally, because I like to watch stuff at night especially. But it did a really good job at making it realistic, whilst keeping it, you know, having light-hearted moments alongside the really deep emotional dark moments. But yeah, if you haven't watched Made yet, go watch it because it is amazing. Now we're on to films. I have less on this list, but I've watched 170 films this year or something. So these are just my top ones that I've watched this year. Top one is Her. I have wanted to watch this film for years and finally decided to illegally stream it. And I watched it when I really, really needed a movie to help me escape, because that was why I loved movies in the first place, but I just found it really hard to find one recently like that. I think since watching Call Me By Your Name, like I haven't escaped that much since that film. But when I watched Her, I felt incredible. I really escaped with it, and Joaquin Phoenix is one of my favourite actors anyway, but the story you'd think would not be great, but the way that they wrote it, the acting, the cinematography, the music, everything about this film is 5 stars. Every single thing. It's fucking beautiful. And if you don't know what it's about, it's basically like AI kind of they get Siris and but slash Alexas, because they can kind of like contact them via anywhere. They kind of fall in love with their AIs, like everyone kind of falls in love with their AIs. And it's just about a story about a particular man and his AI, and then the story of how AIs get taken down and they lose like their loves and then the ending I'm not gonna ruin. It's not that deep, but it's very sweet, and yeah, just so insane, so good. I love it. And even the poster for her is beautiful. But anyways, next, I watched this around the same time and I hadn't heard much about it, but I'd always seen clips or pictures from it, so I decided to watch it. And this is Mummy, the French film. This film, it was so good, so good. I loved it. And I think what was amazing about it was that it was so realistic, in the sense of like, it had this teen who was mentally ill, and like, even though it was set in France, he listened to a lot of like English American music, and it stuck to the times of the early 2000s. And even though there were dark hints, like I said, it kept really upbeat, realistic, light-hearted moments. And then the ending was insane. Oh my god, the ending of this film, so good. Ugh. Movies need good beginnings and endings, seriously, but this film, yeah, just really good. I really enjoyed it. The acting was amazing as well. 5 out of 5. All of these are 5 out of 5. So okay, don't kill me, but I hadn't watched Fight Club prior to this year. In fact, not a lot, like 2 of these, you're gonna be like, you only watched them this year? Yes, but oh my god, Fight Club's a classic. Like, it's just a legendary classic film. There's not one thing I can complain about in that film. The cinematography, stunning. Acting, stunning. Writing, stunning. Music, stunning. I love every single actor in this film. Such a good cast, such a good film. The plot is fucking brilliant. I'm just obsessed. And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. I think I would put this at the bottom of my favourite movies this year. But there was just something about it that was really good. I couldn't really pin it down, but it's American Honey. The acting was really good. The music, I think, is what made it onto my favourites list. Just really beautiful. It really added to the atmosphere. There are several movies that have this atmosphere, kind of like Zola, which I also watched this year, but I just didn't really... I liked it, I think it was good, but it's not one of my favourites. I don't really like the atmosphere that it has and creates. And it's just very like, I'm poor American vibes, right? And it's like, I need something, if it's going to be realistic, then don't emphasize that, but emphasize the actual lives of the people instead of like just the poor American aesthetic. That's my issue with these films, because they're not romanticized, but they're just, I don't know, there's something about them that I just don't like. But this one was just very different. I liked it. I liked the action. I think it was a bit too long, just because like there were moments where like nothing happened, but there was just, and some of it was really explicit, but just like the music of it just really pulled it together, and I really liked it. So it would be the end of my favourites list, but still kind of made it up there. Then we have, this is the other film that people are going to be like, you only just watched this? Yes, Parasite. I watched it this summer. What a fucking film, dude. What a fucking film. What a fucking film. Just deserved every single award it got. The acting, insane. Plot, insane. I'm someone who hates horrors. I can do thrillers, but horrors, fuck that. But this was more like a thriller for sure. But for such a thriller, it was slow paced, so I wasn't scared the entire time. And everything kind of just happened at the end, and even though it was like explicit slash kind of gory, it was enough to handle because it wasn't full on and it wasn't throughout the entire film. And it was just really smart. Like the way they did it was so smart, and I just, I'm obsessed with Parasite. But anyways, A Ghost Story. Now this film, I think, is almost on the verge of forgettable, but just made it. So it has Rooney Mara, who is Joaquin Phoenix's wife, and she was in Carol, and she's amazing. I love her, and a couple other actors and stuff. But what I love the existential crisis idea behind it. So the plot of A Ghost Story is the people that buy this house, the man, he dies, she stays alive. As a ghost, he follows her. And what I love, and then she leaves, and then other people move in, and he's there until it gets destroyed, until the end of time, where the beginning of time kind of starts again, and he's back in, you know, the fucking beginning of like the Jesus Christ time before Christ. And it's just fucking, it's, the thing is, it's like, it seems like a low budget indie film, and that aesthetic of it fits perfectly, because if it was like a high budget one, it would have been too much. The way it was filmed, I think it was on film, beautiful, the acting, beautiful. But what I love most about it is that because he's a ghost, I thought, you know, how are they going to go about this? Is he just going to be slightly see-through? Is he going to be just looking like him but invisible to everyone else? He literally wears a duvet cover. He's literally just a duvet cover. It's fucking brilliant. I just think it was so smart, and some scenes were fucking beautiful. There's a scene where the house is like empty, no one lives in it, and then there's a party in there with a bunch of like 20-something-year-olds, like late 20s, and there's this guy sat at the table talking about like life and the universe and this existential crisis kind of theme, and it's fucking insane, like just how he does it so beautifully, and this guy, this ghost, is just sat there like watching him. Oh my god, it's such a good film, and it's quite comforting. Even though it's really sad, it's quite comforting, so I just really enjoyed that film. Recently, like literally not even, maybe 2 weeks ago, I had to watch lemme for uni, and what a good fucking film. That is a good fucking film. Black and white, is it French? Yeah, it's French, and just the acting is insane. It doesn't even seem that old, and it touches on really important subjects. It's like action packed, it's very fast paced, but it's fun and it makes sense, and the writing is insane. The music's amazing in this film, and just so good. It's basically just about a bunch of youths kind of starting like a revolution against cops because one of their friends, I think, was killed, or they had a feeling he was going to get killed. I can't remember exactly, but just really good. And it's still a classic to this day, even though it was filmed ages ago, but just such a good film. You have to watch it, especially if you like Fight Club. They're two very different things. Like, this is like an indie French crime film, you know, a realistic crime film, but just like the vibes are the same. And then the last two movies on my list, we all saw this coming, didn't we? The French Dispatch and Dune. Actually, I'm gonna add one more to this list because I watched it yesterday. SpiderMan No Way Home. Those three movies came out this year, and they're just fucking brilliant, every single one. I'll start with Dune because I think that was my least favorite out of those three. I think SpiderMan No Way Home is my favorite out of all of them, and then The French Dispatch. But Dune was so good, and I understand why people wouldn't like it. It's very slow paced, it's long, it's not a lot of action. However, I can appreciate it because the acting is insane, the music is insane, the writing is so good. And what I really love about it is that Denis, the director and writer, I think, stuck to the book. And I've not read the book, but I know he stuck to the book. And as a writer, that's something so important. When I'm watching a film and I know it's an adaptation of a book, I'm like, it has to stick to the book. Has to stick to the book. It can have a twist on it, you know, the writer's twist, but it has to stick to the book, and it did, and I was just so happy. And it was just the perfect build-up for Dune Part 2. I feel like everyone's gonna enjoy Dune Part 2 more, but the hype that this Dune had was just brilliant, and I'm so happy about it, and I'm just it was so good. The French Dispatch. Honestly, I kind of convinced myself it would be my favorite Wes film, but it wasn't. Here's the reason why. Wes has a mix of a Hollywood / indie film aesthetic, just naturally. But in this one, it seemed actually more indie, even though it had complete A-list cast. And I actually prefer his almost Hollywood films, because my favourite one is still The Grand Budapest Hotel. It's a fucking brilliant movie. But The French Dispatch was so good, and I've spoken about it in my review. I'll put that in the below. It was so good. The acting was so good. I really enjoyed watching it. Even though it moved too quickly for some people, it moved perfectly paced for me. I feel like if it slowed down at all, it wouldn't fit. And just like in this movie, he switched mediums, so he went from black and white to, you know, his normal color palette to literally cartoon. Just I think Wes is just such a fucking insane creative genius. That man can do no wrong. And if you haven't watched The French Dispatch, you should. I think if you're a Wes fan, you'll love it. But I think if you're not super into it, then his other films would be more for you, like Grand Budapest. Fucking top movie. And then lastly, SpiderMan No Way Home, which I watched yesterday. Honestly, I think that's the top film released this year. I thoroughly fucking loved it. Like, I watched Black Widow as well this year, which I loved. It was so good. That should have also been on my list, to be honest. But just Tom Holland is fucking amazing in this film, and I'm not gonna give any spoilers. It's over a week since it's come out, so if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. And if you haven't seen spoilers already, I would be surprised, but just, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's just fucking amazing. It's just fucking incredible. I literally in fact, never do I disrupt in a cinema, because I hate people who do it. But when I tell you I screamed audibly throughout this entire thing, I screamed audibly. I really did. I literally cried, sobbed, laughed. Me and my friend who went to see it with me, Keontae, when the lizard guy, because you know the villains come back, his name's like Dr. Curtis Connors, when he spoke, his accent, I forgot his accent, and we pissed ourselves. I was laughing so fucking hard in that cinema, I swear to God. Fucking, just that movie was fucking brilliant. The acting was insane, the writing was insane, it was action-packed, which it needed. It was action-packed. 100%. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. I don't care if you're not a Marvel fan, you need to go fucking watch it. I think that's my video for now. I can't wait to do this next year. I can't wait to see what comes out next year. I'm just so happy there's a whole new year of films, and all my favourite shows are coming back next year. Better Things, oh my god, Queer Eye, Stranger Things. All my favourite shows are coming back next year, and to do a review on all of them, especially Better Things, which is my favourite show of all time, on its last season, just I'm gonna geek. I need to not do this right now. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Mwah.